Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is January 4th, 2018, and this is Mastermind call number 158. Hope you all are having a great first part of the year. I know we're really busy here. My amazing partners and I got together yesterday, and we've got some bigger and better things planned for you. We'll share that as we're ready to unveil it, but let me go around the horn real quick. Tim, anything you want to share with the group? Timothy, are you there, sir? Okay, we'll start with, I know he was there.
Yeah, you blew me off too. I had to call back in.
No, I didn't do that. Something's going on today. People are, anyway, go ahead, Tim. Anything you want to share?
Yeah, just so you know, when you hit the thing to mute the caller that you were looking for, that muted everybody back out.
Okay.
He was able to get through. Anyway, it's all good now.
Yes, sir. All right, go ahead. Anything to share with the group this week?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a guest on the call, and I'll let Chad introduce him. I think that's great, and it's the new year, and we're here and ready to rock and roll, and we got everybody in the office today. Chad's actually here in my office today, and we're doing some extra work to make sure that we iron out some of the details on the ISA program, and we're going to talk some about that today, and looking forward to a great year. So onward and upward.
Excellent. And Chad, I know you're going to introduce a guest this week. Tom, anything you want to share before Chad does that?
I just want to wish everyone a very happy new year, and just a reminder, if you need anything, we're here to help. Just send an email to support@alltheleads.com, or if you're in your account area, go to support where to contact us, and just be specific on what you're looking for. We track those items, and then have the appropriate people contact you back. So we're here to help.
Excellent. All right, Chad, the floor is yours, sir. What would you like to share with the group this week?
All right. I'm not muted out, am I?
You're not muted out. No, we always let you talk.
I was nervous. All right, so we'll start from the training desk. If you guys weren't on the role play call yesterday, we had role play call number 26. It was a good one. Really like a lot of back to the basic stuff on focusing on the initial conversation, but we ended up doing 4 or 5 really solid role plays, really good participants. And if you haven't listened to that, there's a couple of places you can. You can always go to our Facebook group, and it's in All the Leads Mastermind in Facebook. If you're not a member of the group, you can request access. But it's archived there with a summary of the call, as well as on our website. If you go to conference calls, access call archive, and then you can look at it's kind of in a calendar format. You can listen to it there. But if you're just getting on the phones and, regardless of where you are, there was something in that call yesterday for everybody. We had experienced callers, we had brand new people, and it was just it was a really solid hour of working on our language. That if you are serious about this, take some time and listen to that this week at some point. Probate Mastery, I haven't scheduled the dates. We've had several people sign up, and right now what I'm doing until I can land on 3 consecutive days, if you want to sign up now, you can sign up for Probate Mastery. I'll send you the recordings from the last class, and then I'll make sure you're registered for the live sessions as well. If you do that and you feel like you need help, like if you have questions that weren't covered in the recordings, you can set up an appointment with me, and I'll work with you one-on-one. So if you feel like you're waiting on Probate Mastery, I'm sorry about that. My travel schedule has been kind of unpredictable and full. So if you're waiting, you can go ahead and sign up and do that. You can do that on if you go to alltheleads.com, look at the system, probate system, education and training, or in subscriber portal, I think you can just click education and training and sign up for Probate Mastery. And the last order, so we, as you guys know, we introduced our ISA or calling program a few weeks ago, and we knew we were doing it kind of prematurely, and there was going to be a bit of a learning curve, but we decided it's easier to steer a moving truck, and we haven't done this before. So we decided to go ahead after some beta testing and ironing the wrinkles out early. We decided to go ahead and go live with it on November 30th. So after about a month of learning, we've gotten a pretty smooth system. It's becoming a well-oiled machine, and it will soon, once we kind of see how you guys are using it and what the demand will be, as we figured out, we'll automate all of that. So everything will be captured and done directly from your CRM. I invited Brandon, who's running our call center, to the call today, so he can kind of give you guys. I mean, you heard my report on it, but I wanted to give Brandon an opportunity to kind of talk about what they're doing in the call center, and be able to stay on the line with us to answer any questions you guys have. So, Brandon, introduce yourself and tell us what you've been seeing over the last month, and stick around for the rest of the call. Anyone who wants to ask a question, you can press *6, wait a moment, and then press 1. And you can. Brandon will be with us for the rest of the call today. So it's all yours, Brandon.
Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it. Again, my name is Brandon Simpson, and I'm running the call center here for the ISA servers with all the leads. We're seeing fantastic success with this particular program. Just to give you guys an idea of how it all started, essentially we call for agents all over the country, and we make multiple different types of real estate calls. What we've noticed is with the probates and using Chad's system and Jim's system, it's allowed us to get a much higher conversion rate than normal. Now, we typically call for sell by owners expires in normal cold calls, but the accuracy and the numbers are not always correct, and also it's super competitive. So when we started to see success with our agents who were sending us their probate list, the numbers were so staggering, we had to figure out a way to duplicate the success for other partners. So eventually we connected and started this beta testing program. And ever since we started it, just to give you guys an idea, we've called for about 23 agents in total, and 20 out of the 23 agents have all received at least one solid appointment or a follow-up lead, which is fantastic. We're converting at about 1 in 48 phone calls, so it typically takes us 48 phone calls to actually get a solid appointment. And actually, out of the 20 agents who have received appointments from us so far, at least 8 out of the 20 have received 2 or more appointments. Out of those,
hey, Brandon, I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I don't know if everybody else is hearing it. Your microphone's cutting in and out a little bit. Are you hearing that too, Chad?
Yeah, we're all hearing it. It sounds like you're. Okay. Are you on a speakerphone, buddy?
Yes.
Yeah, can you just pick up, because it's really it's popping in and out.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Hold on.
That's vital information. We want everybody to hear it, and we don't want it to get lost there. Jim, you could just mute him out like you did everybody else. That'll fix it.
I don't want to do that. While he's doing that, I'd really real quick share with the group, and I found this amazing. He emailed the partners about 4 or 5 days ago, and he said he had a brand new client, got on the phone, his first session, he scheduled 3 appointments, and he was trying to reach the agent to let him know he had 3 appointments, and he couldn't find the agent. So it was the holidays, and we kind of dismissed it. But I just tell everybody, boy, if you put somebody to work for you, setting appointments, make sure you're available when he gets them. So I'd put him. I would put him on the top of my callback list. Don't mute out or don't block out Brandon if he's calling you. There's a reason, and it's usually because he's got a good appointment for you. Go ahead, Brandon. We can hear you much better now.
Excellent. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so
sure.
One of the agent he's referring to, we actually sent him 5 appointments now that we've actually finished his list. So I'm pretty sure he's very excited about that. He's in Philadelphia, which is a pretty competitive market, and even in the most competitive markets, we're still converting higher markets that are more competitive. We're converting at about 1 in 60 phone calls. Less competitive markets, it's about 1 in 20. So the average in the middle was roughly, I want to say 1 in 48, 1 in 49 phone calls on average, typically. As far as the agents are concerned, like I said before, we've called for about 23 agents in total, and out of the 23 agents, 20 have all received appointments, and out of those 20, at least 8 of the agents have received 2 or more appointments. Out of those 8 agents, 4 have at least received 3 appointments or more. So we're definitely cranking them out. We're definitely producing. And my recommendation to those who have already received appointments from us is definitely continue to follow up with them in case, you don't get a hold of them for any reason. Now, just to give you guys an idea as far as what we're doing when we're actually on the calls with the representatives, we're finding out everything you need to know, and we're digging in to make sure if we don't get you an appointment for them to sell the home, we're at least digging in to see if they may be a potential buyer for you, or if you can help them possibly get a renter for it. And some of you guys work with rentals, so that works out great. And it really gives us an opportunity on every single phone call to, one way or another, get some sort of connection where you can do business with the representative, like I said, whether it's on the seller side, the buyer side, or on the rental. And really, the goal for us is to try and get you as face-to-face as possible, get you close to as face-to-face as possible. It's not always possible to do that just because of the fact that sometimes representatives, they live out of state, they have tenants in the property. There might even be squatters in the property. They don't really want to just meet at the property. So we'll simply set up a phone call where you can introduce yourself, present what you offer, or we'll actually set up a meeting in your office if you want, or we can even set up a meeting outside of the representative's home where you can meet with them at their personal property and discuss the situation, in regards to the other property. We really try to get you face-to-face, but if there's a reason where we can't, then we will just do our best to, basically get you in contact with them. And from there, you can schedule your own appointment or just present what you can do over the phone to all of the representatives who are involved in the decision-making process. As far as conversion
Excellent.
rate, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, excellent. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, what I was going to say is, as far as conversion rate is concerned, we're still making sure that anybody we call for, like I said, we're digging in the thorough rate, and ultimately, over the next month or so, we should see that, that conversion rate increase, because the more people we're calling for, the more familiar we're getting with the agents, it's making it easier for us to, represent them the correct way and ultimately get more appointments. So.
Excellent. And Brandon, go ahead, Chad.
A couple of things I wanted to cover while we have Brandon on the line. So, guys, we kind of made a procedural and ethical decision to only make phone calls for one person in each market. So if somebody hires us to make calls in Pasco, Florida for the January list, that's the only person that we'll be doing that for. Now, if someone is in Pasco and that person's not calling the leads from last July, and someone comes in and wants us to call historical leads, then we'll still do that. But going forward, as long as that person is on autopilot, they'll be the customer that will make the phone calls to the new leads. And there's been a bit of confusion there, and it's been hard to accept for some people, but it's the only fair way for us to do this. And if you have an old list and we can't make calls in your county on the new list, I highly encourage everybody to make historical calls. So far, I can't think of any exceptions where someone has diligently prospected backwards in time through old leads and not produced business. Jim, you have a bunch of, from months and months out. I have plenty of stories from 12 to 24 months of come list me calls. So there's business in those old lists. So if you're on this call and you feel like, well, I wish that would have been around 8 months ago when I had, if you have lists that you haven't called, this still works. And Brandon has proven that in calling backwards for a few of our clients, calling lists. How far back have we gone, Brandon? We've gone at least a year, right?
Yep, we've gone back as far as a year and a half. Okay,
so yeah, we've gone back 18 months, and we're still producing results 18 months back. So if you have data that's just sitting around that you didn't call, you're probably leaving money on your desk, and we can extract that for you. The other thing I wanted to cover is, we often talk about attorney prospecting and building a referral network on these calls, and that's kind of a challenge that I'm not going to take credit for it. Brandon kind of gave himself that challenge, and we've talked about it and worked through scripts and we're testing things, and they were able to successfully set the first face-to-face attorney appointment, which happened today. And that's something that so far with our agents making their own phone calls, I don't have one success story. Now, office visits is a different story. Almost every agent who steps out and goes out and meets face-to-face with attorneys is successful. But it's incredibly hard to do on the phones. It's hard to get through the gatekeeper. It's hard to get the attorneys in their office. They're always in the courtroom or out and about. But it looks like that code might have been cracked too. So at some point in the near future, if we can produce consistent results with this, we may be making your attorney calls for you as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, anybody would, Brandon, your phone number that you're calling from ends in 4939. That's you, correct?
Correct.
Okay, wanted to make sure I don't mute you out again. We do have one person in the queue. I don't know if it's a question for Brandon, but let's turn it open to the group. Anything is open. It doesn't have to be ISA related. It's certainly, if you have a question or something you want to discuss with Brandon, he's here. This would be a great time to do it. If you have anything else that we can help you with, guys, it's an open forum. Nothing is out of bounds or off the table. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. And now we have 2 people in the queue. We got room for plenty of you, so don't be shy. Hit *6 and hit 1. There you go. We're filling up. Thank you, guys. All right, let's take the first person in the queue. Phone number ending in 8135. You're up first.
This
phone
is
number.
Yep.
Go ahead.
James Anderson in Pinellas County, Florida.
Hey, James.
Hey, how we doing?
Great.
So
go ahead, sir.
This is my first mastermind. So I hear, is this system more for the agent? I'm an investor, so I'm not really looking for listings, obviously. I'm looking to buy houses on 65 cents on the dollar.
So we cross-train everybody. If you're an investor, you have a rock star real estate agent that you love to use, right?
What do you mean, like to pass on listings to get a commission for, or not? They can't call it a commission, get a kick. I don't know what you call it. They have so many rules.
To sell your deals, I mean, do you have a real estate agent that you trust?
No, I'm a wholesaler. I have a buyer's list.
Okay, so what we teach is you should have a real estate agent because you're.
I mean, I have, of course I do. I mean, I have real estate agents on my buyer's list, but I don't.
Well, that's
my exit strategy is not to list the property, if that's what you're asking.
But your entrance strategy is to make money, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're leaving money on the table if you're not giving agent referrals, and maybe that's in the form of marketing fees or whatever you want to call it, or maybe if you send listings to them, they bring deals to you. So what we try to cross train. I mean, we started this system for the conventional real estate community because no one had ever really taught probate or consistently gathered good quality leads for them. But as we've grown, we have more and more investors come in and look at our system and actually say, you know what, this works. And they see how we cross-train agents to work with investors as a vital team member. And it's a two-way street. Like every investor should have a real estate agent that works directly with them. Because you know as well as I do, usually in the first 5 minutes of a phone call, you know if you can buy that house or not, right? You can hear and feel that motivation. So if you know that you're not going to be able to buy that house, the seller needs retail value or they just don't have the equity that you need to buy it at 65 cents on the dollar, then you can just simply change course of the conversation without breaking rapport and making them an offer that's going to, break rapport. You can just move it to setting an appointment for a realtor in your market. And you can have whatever arrangement you want with that realtor, whatever works for you guys. Some people have the realtor split the leads with them. Some realtors will just pay you a marketing fee, for sending that listing their way. You can have them pay for your mail. You can have them pay for your leads. There's different ways. But the bottom line is we have better phone numbers than anyone in the country. We have consistent probate leads delivered every 30 days in your market directly from your courthouse. And we have these calls where we share a lot of ideas for both investors and real estate agents, as well as people who own estate sale and auction companies. So it's kind of the same concept. If you're sending We Buy Houses postcard, if you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, you're probably going to get the same result. And a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. But if you can differentiate yourself and not necessarily identify as an investor, but identify as a probate expert who has a team of people and a suite of solutions, then you're going to come to the top of the pile, and you're going to have more conversations than any other investor in your market. And that's really what our system is about. It's about differentiating yourself, providing value first, and then deciding how you monetize it.
And James, I was going to add one thing, if I may. All of us on the call are realtors and investors, all of the partners in this business. Realistically, 10% of these are going to have some compelling motivation where they need to sell right away. A lot of them are going to end up listing. The advantage of having a realtor to refer them to, some of those people that list, if it doesn't sell right away, 3-4 months down the road, they get a lot more motivated. So it's a really good idea to refer the ones that you don't buy to a realtor that'll have your back if the situation changes and the people become more flexible on their price. You're sort of locking those in that if any investor buys them, it's going to be you. So it's like Chad said, it's a mutually beneficial relationship. And I guess let me include Brandon in that. Brandon, are you calling yet for any investors? Or are you set up to do that or not? Okay,
yeah,
go ahead,
yeah.
Brandon.
Yep, yeah, I'm here. So, yeah, we definitely call for investors. A lot of the investors we call for also have a license, though. So, primarily, we are trying to attack the listing side and then, double back for the buyers. But as far as, calling for an investor, I don't see why it would be difficult for us to, set an appointment the same way. Yeah, and we've done it before. We've already done that, so. Not with anybody with all the leads, but with other partners across the country, so specifically in New Jersey. So.
Well, I mean, it's hard for me as a wholesaler to compete with an agent that has essentially no skin in the game and saying, I can get you $175 a square foot. Because they can keep that on the market 90 days, come in, ask for a reduction. It's hard to compete with agents that will just I know you guys are agents. I'm not being offensive here, but some agents will tell people exactly what they want to hear to get the listing. In all actuality, a lot of these houses aren't retail ready. I mean, we are in a market now where fix and flippers are going to the MLS and things are just getting out like crazy. I understand that. I'm just trying to figure out, are my marketing dollars, I'm trying to spend my marketing dollars the best way I can. Obviously, everyone's trying to get the best ROI. I don't want to step into something that's obviously not going to have a decent return on investment. If these,
James, if I could, because I was both a realtor and an investor for nearly 40 years, my experience is you really aren't competing, because the people that have a compelling urgency to sell right away, mom died, we got to get down to nursing home, we need to sell right away, they're not going to list. They can't afford to wait. And the ones that don't have that compelling urgency aren't going to take a lowball offer. So in my experience, you're really going after a different segment of the probate market. And like Chad said, you're going to know in the first 30 seconds if that urgency is there. And if there is, you don't have any competition. If there isn't, you're better off doing the right thing for the customer, referring them to the agent, and hopefully you can monetize that with the agent, or it'll come back to you later if their situation changes. So
I was on a Mastermind role play yesterday. I got to listen to about an hour of it, and having real estate as just like a spoke in the wheel, which is I think Chad was talking about. Present yourself as a probate expert with a suite of solutions. I love that. That's very smart. Because go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that's how we like to approach it when we're making the calls as well. That you have an entire suite of solutions that you can provide, and ultimately we're just here to let you know what options are available, and that way you can decide for your family what's going to be the best solution. If you want a quick cash offer, we can get you that. If you're looking to actually get top dollar out of it, I'm sure we have a solution for that as well. So we let them know. We kind of let them decide which direction they want to go. And somebody in your situation, if it's someone who, like Jim said, it's time sensitive, they're looking for a quick cash offer, that's the ultimate appointment for you. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
right,
at the end of the day, a real estate agent, I would go in there, clear the house out, have a yard sale, do all that. Real estate agent ain't going to do that. I've never met one that would.
The ones on this call will. I promise you that.
Yeah, James, thank you. I appreciate your participation. We got a bunch more people in the queue, but reach out to any of us individually if you want to discuss it further. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
And Jim,
Next,
real quick before we jump
okay,
to the next one, he was talking about ROI. So a lot of the agents that, well, pretty much most of the agents that we work with, even at like a 2% conversion, their ROI is exceeding 1,500%. But we're talking about an average commission of less than $6,000 on the national median price. With a wholesale, you're probably looking at, and I don't know if you muted him out yet or not, Jim, but I mean,
I did. I'm sorry, but he can hear you. He can hear you. Go ahead.
I mean, most wholesales, you're going to make between $10,000 and $30,000, right? Those are kind of bread and butter wholesale deals. So you're from an ROI standpoint, as far as like what the rate that we're converting this business, your ROI is probably going to far exceed any absentee owner campaign or anything like that. That's a fiercely competitive space. Like you're going to have less competition, and with this kind of differentiated approach, you should have a consistent conversion rate. So you're probably going to have a higher ROI than you have on other campaigns. And if Jim, if you want to talk more about that one-on-one, I know you've gotten muted out, but feel free to give us a call and we can chat through that after this.
Yeah, it looks like we just lost Brandon. Brandon, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. Okay. You weren't showing up on the speakers list, I guess, because you just hadn't spoken in a while. No problem. All right. Well, our next caller is phone number ending in 0883. You're up next.
Well, you're getting the day of the James and Jims. This is Jim Forsyth in Memphis.
Yeah, this is a Jim call between all of us.
Yeah, it sounds like it, 3 in a row here. I've been working with all of you guys, and Chad in particular. Chad's been a big help, and then I've been working with Brandon and Sam for several months. And for those that want to know, it does work. I'm currently working two transactions, trying to get them to the listing stage, and you get the biggest one I've got going right now is a builder of mine is doing remodel on a house, and they were going to put it on the retail market in 2 to 3 weeks. All of a sudden we've got inundated with the cold air from New York, where Brandon and them are, and so our contractor can't get outside to finish all the repairs. But this house is going to go on the market probably for $325,000, and that's a pretty good price in Memphis. And then I've had several others, and still working them. So everybody, get on board. It's something that can work and is working.
Jim, thank you. And I know you tried to make the calls yourself for a while, and you were kind of on again, off again doing it. And it wasn't that you couldn't do it. I think you finally just admitted we're not telling people not to make their own calls if you're good at it, but I think you finally admitted that it wasn't the best use of your time personally. So it seems like you've had a lot more success. Okay, good. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'm hearing a lot of encouraging things too. For instance, attorney calls. I'm looking at that is another realm. I'm looking at sending emails to attorneys. So there's just a lot of different things. And if Brandon and them get the attorney calls down to where that, and then one of my leads at least was an old lead from last year. In fact, I think the one that I'm about to list is an old lead from last year. And so, it's, just everybody get on board. If unless you just love making phone calls, I hate it. And I'm not, that is not my forte. And so my money is better spent having someone else make the phone calls, and then I follow up and try to set the appointments and get the listings. And so
appreciate that, Jim. And what? Yeah, go ahead.
Just depends on what is your best attribute. What do you do best? And
you made one comment. Yeah, you made one comment there. I was just going to share a success story we've heard in the past. If you're going to email the attorneys, we've heard from several agents that the best thing to do is in the subject line, just do a mail merge, and the only thing you should put in the subject line is regarding probate case number, 75206. Yeah, it makes it look like an official correspondence where the attorney's more likely to open it and read it, and you're going to get his attention that way. So
And
give
one
that a
thing
try if
that
you're
I
going
have
to
been
email.
okay, I heard that on one of the calls, and that's what I will be doing. One of the things that I have started doing, and I don't know if it'll be successful or not. I'm still doing my own mailings, but in the return address, all that I am putting is the case number, the probate number.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we'll see if I start getting more return, then maybe that's part of what it was. But instead of putting my name or my company name, I've just put the probate number. And so
Interesting.
they at least know, okay, it has to do with Aunt Sally or my dad or my mom or whatever. And so maybe that'll be something that will get them to open it quicker.
Interesting. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate as always, your participation. We have 3 more people in the queue. Chad, any comment on what Jim had to say, or should we move on to the next person?
No, just thanks for sharing. I mean, that Jim was one of our first early adopters / testers to figure out, exactly how to get this moving and systemized. And I appreciate him jumping up, volunteering early. And thanks for the report.
Excellent. We have 4 more people. Go ahead, Jim.
It's been a pleasure to work with all of you. It started out with Jim. I talked with Tom, and Chad and I have a lot of good conversations. And he and I had a good conversation yesterday about one of the other leads I've got, and that I will be following up following this call. And so everybody just hang in there and make it work.
Thank you, sir. Well said. Next up is phone number ending in 6520. You're up next.
Hello. I'm sorry. I came in just a little bit late. I was on the phone with a client, and I hear Brandon talking about the phone calls and question. So with the phone calls, is this the phone calls that your service provides, and what is the cost of that monthly then?
Sure. Go ahead.
So it depends on the number of leads you have and how depends on how many leads you're calling. We work it down to a cost per lead. So for $2.50, we'll call every number that we have associated with each lead, and that includes leaving voicemails if we don't make contact.
Okay.
And typically we get about 3 or 4 phone numbers for each person. So the ISAs will call every number we have and either speak to someone or leave a voicemail at all the numbers for $2.50.
Okay.
Okay. Does that help?
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome.
The idea there, guys, just so you guys understand, I mean, the idea was to be able to provide this service for you at a fraction of the cost it would take you if you hired your own ISA, that would convert at this level. So ultimately, we're trying to narrow your list and save you money on your overall marketing campaign. Even though you're paying $2.50 for a phone call, you're cutting your list down. Each round of calls, we're actually opting people out. So as they're opted out of future phone calls and future mailings, I think most people make up that money in what they save on what would be lost marketing dollars. So the idea was not to charge you guys more money. We know that you've already made a big commitment to an expensive system. The idea is to actually lower your overall marketing costs through, more efficient prospecting.
Perfect. All right. Phone number ending in 2020. You're up.
Hi. How are you doing? This is Margie
Great.
Bowen in New York.
Hey, Margie. Welcome.
My question is, the leads that I got this past go around, most of them are not in New York. So most of these people that are the representatives are someplace else in the country.
Right.
That's usually an advantage.
Okay, I'm listening to you. It's usually an advantage. Go ahead.
Okay, so if you think about the amount of stress that those people are under, you have a co-op or a house or a property in New York. They have moved out of there. They probably don't know anyone, or the people they did know are probably gone by now, and they have to deal with this from afar. So how much more valuable is your service when you can say, you know what, let me just take 90% of this off your plate and coordinate it for you.
Right, but how do I
Jim
get access? That's my problem.
to the property?
Yeah, they're not here. Right.
Well, 9 times out of 10, I mean, I've actually never found a house with an out-of-town owner that someone in town didn't have access. So usually a family member, a neighbor, a property manager, a caretaker, somebody has access to the property. You just need to find out who that is. In your initial conversation, you know, when they start to engage with you, you can say, okay, well, listen, it would really be helpful for me if I can just go take a look at the property, and then we can set up a time for everybody to talk. So once I've seen it, I'll kind of have a better idea of some of the options that I can provide for you guys. So what I typically do is during the initial conversation, I will set the follow-up appointment, and then I'll get out to the property with whoever can get me access. And like I said, it's usually a family member or a neighbor. They give me access, and then I'll have the actual listing appointment separate from the property tour.
Okay.
And
How many
Jim
days after I get? You talk, Chad.
No, you had a question. Go ahead.
How many days after they get that letter should I be calling them?
We try to follow it up like the day they get the letter or the day after. So typically, first class mail is 3 business days. So if you're dropping letters on Friday, then by Wednesday or Thursday, you should be on the phone.
Okay.
And we send you a copy of the letter that goes out to your customers. If we do the mailing for you, you get a copy of it the same time they get it. So it comes to your address the same as it does to theirs, and you know when you've received it in your mail that they've received it as well. So that's your notification to start making phone calls.
Okay. I've been doing the mailings myself, but anyway, that's good to know. Eventually,
And Margie, Jim is in the Fort Lauderdale market, and when we tested this, I forget your numbers, Jim. I know you had dozens of basically virtual appointments.
Yeah,
you only met one, right?
In 4 months, I took 14 listings and I bought and flipped 2 properties, and I went on a total of 1 appointment, and I loved it from my real estate listing days because you can only go on so many appointments. It's very efficient when you don't even have to go. It's a 10-15 minute phone conversation, email off the paperwork and wait for it to come back. And Chad's right, almost 95% of the time someone's got a key. And very often it's a neighbor, like Chad said, a trusted neighbor, friend, relative, somebody locally has a key. And if they don't, you just make arrangements to have the key overnighted to you. It takes a day or 2. So, but yeah, I loved it when they weren't here because, like I said, it was just a much better use of my time not to travel out to the property and have to go through all that and, before you even knew if there was an interest or not. So it's a very efficient way to take listings if they're not local. I think that's a benefit.
Okay, great.
All right.
Great.
Excellent. We got 5 more in the Thank you. Thanks for your participation, Margie. We have 5 more in the queue. Phone number ending in 7301. You're up next.
Hey, hi. This is Robert. I'm calling from Philadelphia.
Yes, sir.
And we're actually using, obviously, we're the one that he was referring to when he talked about the 5 leads that he got from sets of calls for the ISA. We're using the ISA program. But my question is, are there a reservoir or some form of scripting that you could have on your website for when we want to make, let's say, a particular call when we see an address that's particularly juicy or and that was not reached by our ISA, or when we're calling out to the attorneys or whatever, to have some general good scripts for how we should approach those conversations as members of all the leagues?
We don't really do scripting, and the reason is these conversations, there's so many variables and they can go in so many different directions.
Sure.
What we try to teach you is more of a conversational framework. So you can start with that. If you go into your subscriber portal and go back to Fast Track Training and go to video number 3. When that video finishes, in that video I believe around the 8-minute mark, I kind of talk about this and why we don't have scripts. But when that video finishes playing, some downloads will pop up below it. One of those downloads is called the Probate Seller Interview Sheet. And that's really from the top to bottom kind of the information you need, like in the right order. And I've spent a lot of time moving that around and changing the order, but we focus on building rapport and setting the appointment first, and then move into the real estate conversation. and then do some things to reinforce that. And that's what we really teach in Probate Mastery. The best thing I can do for you, rather than give you a script, is go print that sheet off and have it in front of you. You can change it. It's in Microsoft Excel form.
Yeah, I actually took it. I made legal size sheets and made a pad of them. So I have that for when
I would say take that legal pad and sit down and listen to yesterday's role play call and go back in time and listen to a few of those, because we role play through literally dozens of different scenarios, and that's going to be far better for you to actually build language than any written script that we could ever give you.
Right. I mean, and the purpose of scripts is to get not even bullets, is to get it so that you can internalize it and make it your own. So you're ready anytime you're having the conversation. But yeah, it's just I was wondering about that, and I did see that when we went through the training together. I like to have something that I can try to internalize and put. So I'll go back and review that and see what I can pull out.
I know I realize it's extra work for you, but I would much rather have you listen to those role play calls and write your own scripts than I would give you one and you try to regurgitate it. That's kind of the point of why we do the training the way we do.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. We have 3 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 8135. You're up next.
Yeah, this is James again out of Pinellas County, Florida. Real quick, does Brandon have a recorded call for due diligence we can listen to?
Yep.
You do? Okay. Are the calls being coordinated with mailings and all that?
You can decide how you want to coordinate it. So some agents would like for us to call first, and then what they'll do is they'll send a letter to the folks who are remaining. Some agents prefer to send a letter first, then we'll make the calls, then make another round of calls, and they'll send another letter. Some agents just have us make the calls, and they don't send any letters at all. So it's really up to you, and the best part about it is you can customize it however you like.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can tell you after doing this for 5 years, the percentages, the program that seems to work the best is get the leads, send a letter, follow up with a phone call. The letter is kind of an introduction. It makes it a little bit less of a cold call when you or Brandon call, if you can reference the letter. So that, you can do it. It's your business. You can do it however you like, but that seems to work the best when you send a letter out first and then follow it up with a phone call. But, we're flexible. We'll do it however you want it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Jim on that. As far as us being able to get in the door with them, it actually makes the rapport a little bit easier to build. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, I actually did get the letter. I do remember his name sounds familiar. So, yeah, I highly recommend you always send a letter first and then have us make the round of calls if possible.
Okay. And tracking, that's all available too? Scrubbing the list, tracking?
Yeah, we take care of it.
Briefly.
Yep. Yeah, so what we do is once we make your calls, we'll send you an email alert letting you know that your calling list is complete. And then after that, we'll send you another email letting you know that we're going to begin updating your CRM, and we'll send you another email basically once that is complete as well. So that's a way you can check and see the details in the calls. And we'll also send you a report of everything that transpired on the calls as well. So you'll see who was added to the DNC list, who was not interested, who we left a voicemail for, who had property but sold it, who had property but listed it already, and who had property but they decided they were going to keep it in the family.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, thank you. 3 more in the queue. Phone number ending in 8160. You're up next.
This is Alan Lewis from Hunterdon County, New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
You had made a comment earlier regarding something about New Jersey, and I sort of missed it. But do you have a lot of active agents in New Jersey?
We have a pretty good presence everywhere in the country. No more so than any other area. There's a lot of places in New Jersey where we have no one, and there's only maybe 1 or 2 counties in New Jersey that are sold out. So, but if you go to our website and you just put in check my county and put the county in, it'll tell you if your county's available.
Okay, so do you have 1 person per county?
Typically, every part of the country is different, but typically we limit it to 3 subscribers per market, per county.
And so how 3 prescribers? How do you then divide the list with 3?
Everybody gets all the leads. You know, there's a little bit of healthy competition there, but you know what I always tell people, it's still a lot better than FSBOs or expires where you've got 100 people calling the same leads. Because and I will tell you that if you're willing to pick up the phone, you're going to get more than your share of the listings. It amazes us how many of our subscribers, and that's one of the reasons we brought Brandon on board, how many of our subscribers, rely strictly on the mail. Like we said, the mail's a great introduction, but you're the salesperson. You got to get on the phone and close the deal. And if you're willing to do that, you'll definitely get your share of listings out of it.
So if the letters are going out, and then pretty much the letters are going to be pretty much carbon copies of different name and address on the top.
No, not at all. We have multiple. We have a dozen different letters. If we're mailing for the same person, we make sure we send a completely different letter if we're mailing for more than one person in the same market. And Chad, you had a comment, something you wanted to add?
I was just going to say, I was going to address that. We have quality control in place to make sure that no 2 people are sending the same letter in the same market. We have quality control in place to make sure that no 2 phone calls are coming from us in the same market. And what we teach, and going back to the couple questions back, one of the reasons we don't offer scripting is because we encourage you guys to really think about what is my offer, and customize that to your business. So you should customize your letters. You should customize your script. You should have an offer that's unique to you. The idea when we started this was not to hand you guys all a bunch of boilerplate crap and have you, all trying to do the same thing. The idea is to have you adopt this as something you're passionate about and you actually care about, the people more than the money, and go out and make it yours. And that's what we find. The people that are really successful are the ones that do that. The ones that say, okay, I'm going to sit down, even just for an afternoon, I'm going to sit down and craft my offer and specifically say, this is what I'm going to offer. These are the options I can provide and the solutions I can provide. And when you get clear on that, then you're confident in customizing your letter and customizing your phone script and going out and doing the prospecting. And those people excel. So that's kind of the idea behind it all, is not to have any 2 people doing the same thing in any market.
Okay. And I have some different information. So the website would be the www.alltheleads.com. That's where I would look for the counties?
Yes, sir. And just hit the tab there that says check my county. If you have any, if it comes up, that means it's available. If it says your county is not available, then you can put your name in and you'll get on a wait list. You'll be notified as soon as it becomes available. And if you have any specific questions, just call me directly. My number is 954-281-4264. That rings right at my desk, and if I don't pick up your call, I'll always call you right back.
954-281-4264.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
And you talked about training, and how often do you do that?
Go ahead, Chad.
The first step, so immediately after signing up, you'll get what's called fast track training. As soon as you log into your subscriber portal, and that's 3 different videos that you'll watch that will cover probably 95% of your questions. For those who really want to, build this as a kind of a pillar in your business, we do offer an advanced training called Probate Mastery, and that's about 6 hours of content that I teach live once a month. And that's $250. It comes with a certified probate expert designation. And we find that most people, it makes a significant difference in your results. Most of the folks who have taken mastery are still with us and stay with us for a lot longer.
And that's once a month?
It's once a month.
Once a month.
We try to do 3 consecutive days. It's done on GoToWebinar.
So it's $250 once a month for how many months?
No, one time charge.
Okay. And for how many months is the training?
It's
every
3
month.
Consecutive days.
Oh, it's every month. Okay. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we do these mastermind calls every week, and then once a month we do the role play call. that we did the first Wednesday of every month. And if you ever need help with anything, we are fanatical about customer service. Just send once you're a subscriber, just send anybody who's one of our subscribers will tell you, send an email to support at all the leads or hit the contact us button on the website. Somebody will get back to you usually within minutes. We really don't want to just sell you data. We want to make sure you're successful with it. So,
Okay.
And call me after this call if you have more questions. I appreciate it.
And your name again, I'm sorry.
My name is Jim.
You're Jim, okay.
All right, thank you. Two more people in the queue. Phone number ending in 8380. You're up next.
I'm newer, and I have a really basic question. How much does it cost to mail per piece for your mailbox motivator again?
Sure.
Tim, you here? You want to answer? We can all answer that, but Tim,
yes,
you want to?
$1.50 a letter. $1.50 a letter, and we customize the letter for you at no charge. We work with you to make sure that the letter is appropriately reflective of who you are and what you want to say about yourself and your market. And we have several samples to choose from. If you don't have a logo, we'll work with you to create one and make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. Also tying the letter to your website. If you don't have a website, we'll help you with that as well. And we create and host websites for many of our customers.
Okay.
Yeah, and the most effective letter that we standardly will send out, or we find is the best, is like a greeting card style oversized envelope with a hand addressed font. It really looks like a birthday card or a wedding invitation, or it looks like personal mail. They tend to get opened and read and responded to much better. And the $1.50, obviously it includes the postage also.
All right. Who do I talk to about that again?
Tim, you want him to just support it all the leads?
Just send them email, anything and everything that you ever need to talk to any of us about. We have basically think of it as triage in an emergency room. We're always waiting for, the siren to ring and, somebody to come in the door on a gurney and help you anytime, any place, anywhere. So anytime anybody needs anything from us in any aspect of what we do, just send an email to support@alltheleads.com, and we have somebody who looks at those emails all day long and puts them exactly where they need to go. So just shoot it out there.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Two more in the queue. Amy, phone number ending in 1472. You're up next.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hi. I'm in Southern California. So, it's almost 11 o'clock in the morning here. So I'm wondering, first of all, is everything kind of geared toward Eastern time, like at 2 o'clock my time you're closed? And also, as far as all these calls go, I'm a prospector, so I'm usually prospecting at 10 o'clock in the morning. Are all these calls always at 10 a.m.?
Yeah, good question. Brandon, what time do you make the calls?
So we try our absolute best to stick with those time windows of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. I mean, we'll call throughout the day if it's somebody who has hundreds of leads and we can't really just wait for that particular time window, and we'll call throughout the day. But primarily, we like to stick with the 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. window and the 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. window, which for us is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. our time, and then also 7 p.m. to pretty much 9 p.m. our time on the East Coast. So we're actually literally calling from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. throughout the days. Callers always on the phones, basically.
And that's based on it's a study that you might have seen in the fast track training that MIT did. I think it was over 88,000 real estate prospecting calls. In a nutshell, if you stick to those call blocks, you're about it's like 166% higher chance of actually converting that business. And your other question was, I think, more about the actual all the leads calls.
Right.
Everything
exactly.
that we use, we have to choose a time zone because we're in the Eastern time zone. That's what we use. We try to schedule these important calls during the middle of the day Eastern time, so we don't leave you guys out out west. Now, we do have some clients in Hawaii, and surprisingly, they do get up at 7 a.m. to come to phone calls. But so we're going to do this call at 1 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, and we do the monthly role play call at 2 p.m. Eastern the first Wednesday of each month.
It's 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay. And then, is there any access for me after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or not really? You're
Sure.
pretty much
So you've
closed.
got access to every phone call we've ever had. You just go to, in the subscriber portal, if you click on conference calls, access call archive, there's about over 300 hours worth of calls that you can access there. And they're posted immediately after each call.
Now, for somebody, like, I've prospected my whole life. I'm a big prospector, but more of like expireds for sale by owners. I haven't yet attempted the calling, and I know if I listen to the role play calls and stuff, that'll be very helpful. Do you advise it still, what's your opinion on me calling versus hiring you guys to call?
I mean, if you, the difference is if you're doing it yourself, when you set the appointment, you can go deeper and go to the face-to-face appointment. When we use ISAs, we can't necessarily go all the way that you would go as an agent because they're not going to have the same skill set that you do. So they have a good skill set of setting phone appointments that you can turn into listing appointments face-to-face. Where if you're on the phone yourself, you should be able to take that conversation. Once you've built rapport and you have momentum in the conversation, then you can go and set the face-to-face appointment in one phone call. So if you have the bandwidth and the discipline to do your own prospecting, it's probably going to be better for you.
So it's best to just listen to all the role plays and all the objections and all that kind of stuff, and then I'll probably feel pretty comfortable with it.
You should. And if you don't, that's why the ISA service is there, because some people just never get themselves there. We have a lot of phenomenal real estate agents that frankly suck on the phone because they've built a referral business. And good for them for that. I mean, we should all be getting at least 80% of our business from referrals and 20% from leads. And some people just suck on the phones, but they're incredible real estate agents with a high level of service in person. And we kind of realize that, and that's why the service exists. So if you find that you're not making the calls or you're not converting after making the calls, then you can always fall back on our ISA service.
Okay.
The other side of that is time is money, so it's really just a matter of, if your every day today is fully occupied doing the same things that you were doing last year and you don't have a lot more available time, it's probably worth at least taking a shot at having these calls be made and go on a couple of listing appointments that Brandon and his team set up for you. And I think you'll probably find that it's a pretty good investment of your time and money to go on an appointment that's already been taken care of for you, and certainly worth a try to do that. They do it all day long, so they're awfully good at what they do.
Is there a contract on that, or you just can try it, or how does that work?
You sign up for it for a set of leads that you have, and they call those leads. You should, if you want to protect your county, put them on autopilot. We have a program that does that. Otherwise, if there's competition in your market, someone else in your market can and will use them. So most of the people that sign up for this are happy with the service and put it on autopilot and go forward with it. But you can certainly do it for one time and try it and see how it works.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. One more person in the queue. Go ahead. Comment, Brandon?
Yeah, I just wanted to add as well. I mean, as far as us making the calls, even though we can't get into intimate detail about the property, the market, and the price, we're still skilled enough to get you face-to-face if it is possible. And ultimately, when we're making the calls, it's actually sometimes easier for us to get you in the door than it is for yourself, because that third-party endorsement is a little bit different than you calling and bragging about what you can do. When you have somebody else calling on your behalf, it sounds a little bit different, and it's almost like we're championing you as the top producer, which makes them feel at ease because I'm not bragging about myself. I'm calling about my boss, whoever we're calling on behalf of, to let them know that they can really help them whatever it is that they're looking for. And also, in regards to you making the calls, I highly recommend that you still make the calls yourself. It's just that you understand you only have so many hours in a day. So if you're making your calls from, 10 to 12, we're still calling. So if you have extra leads that are just sitting there, that's money on the table.
And Brandon, your background, you were and you are a real estate agent, correct?
Not a real estate agent. I'm actually in the process of getting licensed now, but actually
okay.
I worked for about two different companies who were both real estate niched, making, different types of, all types of prospecting calls, buyer leads, internet leads, FSBO expireds, and that's what that's our bread and butter for the company that we have now. But now it's kind
gotcha.
of
So you were kind of a private. You were kind of a private ISA. You have a real estate background, making real estate calls, and now you're doing it for for people all over the country. Great.
Correct.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we have one more person in the queue. Phone number ending in 47. Oh, we got two now. 4774. You're up next.
Hi there. This is Marilyn J. from Harris County, Texas. And I've only been with you all since the summer, and then we had Harvey happen, et cetera, on down the road. I'm absolutely petrified to pick up the phone and make the call. So I was delighted, and I also kind of fell out of the system for a while. The first question I have, maybe I misunderstood or maybe it changed, is I thought that I was the only one that got that particular set of leads, and I didn't realize it went to other agents in my county. Can you?
You may have been when you signed up, but we don't. We're not exclusive. We limit it typically to 3 per county. And if you,
okay.
You may be the only one in your county. That's true of a lot of our subscribers. I mean, there's 1 million agents nationwide. There's 3,200 and some counties, and I think we have about, we have over 500 subscribers. So there's a lot of places where we don't have anyone. And you may may in fact be the only one, but we don't promise that you're always going to be exclusive.
Well,
that's why go ahead.
Okay.
But you will be the only one who will be calling for if you use Brandon.
Okay. I think that would be my better thing to do, but is there a minimum? Like, okay, for instance, Harris County is so huge, and if I only get 50 leads every 2 weeks. Okay, it's 100 a month because I was trying the program, and so I go through them and see the last. I dig around in the system, and definitively that means I go in there, see, and check the address. I mean, I just checked one while ago, and it's 40 miles from where I am. It's like through Houston traffic, that's not a good. And then if it's better or if it's close, and I feel like it's doable, close is like 20 miles. That's not unreasonable, and that's fine. Then depending on what time of day you want to travel in Houston, anyway. The next thing I do is go and look at the property value. I'm not going to drive 20 miles for a $75,000 house. I'm just not in Houston.
Okay.
So I go through them. I mean, with a fine tooth comb, and I like my letter. I got a copy here on my desk. I like my letter, but then I send the letter out and I don't do anything else. That's ridiculous. So I'm so excited to get back on here and realize that I can
Excellent.
have someone
welcome back, and welcome back. It sounds like you have a lot of very questions that are very specific to your county, and the fact that you're just taking a small sample. Why don't you, if you don't mind, because we're actually over an hour and we have one more person in the queue. When this call's over, would you just either call me or just send a request to support, and we'll call you back and we can go over, how that would work in Harris County.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Who am I talking to?
This is Jim.
Okay, Jim, and give me your phone number. I'm not afraid to call you. I will call you.
Yeah, not a problem. 954-281-4264.
Good deal. I'll call you.
All right. Thank you so much. And guys, we try to keep this in a. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry,
Chad, go ahead.
Before we move forward, Marilyn, I just want to say, while you're kind of hitting the reset button and rethinking this, I would encourage you to stop scrubbing your list because you're costing yourself referrals. If you don't want to drive 40 miles, if you don't want to take a listing under a certain price, I guarantee you there's an agent in that neighborhood that does. And you need to align yourself with agents that you can hand that business down to because you're leaving money on the table by not doing that. So you're going to pay the same amount for all the probate leads that you're getting. So you may as well monetize those. So if you end up using Brandon, let him call all of them. If he's setting appointments for $75,000 houses, you can do two things. One, you can refer it out to somebody who plays in that space. Two, you can charge a flat fee listing. So if you say, listen, we do, it's a flat $5,000 for anything under $100,000. Would you still be interested in meeting with me? So you don't have to work for 3%. You can say, if it's under $100,000, X is my bottom line. and you can go get those listings and oftentimes those lower priced homes are far less work. I've made more money off of $50,000 houses than I have off of $1 million houses.
Okay.
I sold 58 houses in one transaction, and I never left my office. Didn't even step foot in a single house. Neither did the buyer. We closed it in 30 days, cash, no contingencies. The largest portfolio of homes that I'm aware of in Roanoke. So you're probably you're probably missing opportunities to get a return on this without actually doing the work.
Yeah, overthinking. I think everything to death, so I've sat here and overthought it.
High analytical, but that's okay. We'll be glad to help you. Just reach out. And I apologize, guys. We never cut anybody off on these calls, but we're way over an hour, and we have one more person in the queue. So this is going to be our last. All right, go get them. And this is going to be our next one up. Is going to be our last call of the day. Phone number ending in 8135. You're up next.
Yeah, so does Brandon have a website?
Alltheleads.com.
Yeah, he does not have his own, I don't believe. Is that correct, Brandon? Or
no,
you just want him?
We do. It is
okay.
If it's all right to share, it is The Right Agency LLC.com. THERIGHTAGENCY LLC.com.
And as far as all the leads, the age leads, is that part of the? Do you have to pay for leads from last June or last August, or how does that work?
Yeah, we'll give you the historical leads at a significant discount if we have them. Every county is different, and I would
are they scrubbed?
Against what?
I mean, have they been contacted? Like, do you know if the houses have been sold and stuff like that? No. Okay. No. You know, we're giving you the lead.
We're giving you the lead. You got to contact them. But I will tell you, you really, and we tried to avoid giving Brandon's information out on the website because we're keeping him very busy calling these probate leads, and we'd prefer that you go to our website and order directly through us and do it that way. We don't want to tie him up with taking a lot of outside questions. So, go to alltheleads.com.
We also don't want to create a situation. We don't want to create a situation where you expect a level of service from us and we don't even know that you've signed up. So if you're going to use this service as part of our system, you're not going to find it for any less money. You should sign up through our system so we can actually track this. There's a system in place for that.
Yeah, I was just curious. I wouldn't go around to try to do.
Yeah, no, we're pretty much an open book here. We're really not worried about it. We just have a very efficient way to do this, and we've got a really good system we've coordinated with him. So it's better if you stay inside the lines. And if you have any questions about this, we'll put you in touch with them. Call us first. We'll discuss it with you, then we'll put you in touch with Brandon. Fair enough?
Yeah. How about this? If I signed up through you guys, started using Brandon, would it be able to add other leads to a campaign with Brandon, or is that
how about hey, this is Tim and I'm the CEO of the company. How about we take this to let's get started with what you have here, and how about you let us help you work with what you have, and we'll come up with a plan for anything that you want to go do. If there's something we can help you with, we'll be glad to do that. But you need to kind of start with the program that we have and get going there, because I think that's probably the easiest way to do this. Brandon's got full service, and if there's other things you'd like us to help you with, we'll be glad to do it. But this is a great program, and we'd love to have you give that a try and see if that works out for you, and we'll keep you busy.
All right, guys. Hey, I really appreciate everybody's patience today, guys. This is by far our longest call, and I don't think anybody dropped off or didn't stay till the end. And I always like to end these calls. This is a good call because you kind of saw the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you saw some people that with a little bit, that were a little bit questioning things. And, we try to keep this an open forum, and we try to lay all of our cards on the table. And we really appreciate everybody who took 70 minutes out of their life today to show up and be here. And I want to challenge you like I do in every call, take one idea, one thing, one thought, one thing that inspired you from this call, go out and put it into practice in the next week and come back next Thursday and share it with the group, guys. Great call. Thank you so much to everybody who participated. Brandon, thanks for being here, and we will talk to you all same time next Thursday.